Hey everyone, this is Spencer Bonin and Balwinder Marwaha again with Unlocking You 2.0 today with a new video series talking about 5 different ways that we can release our expectations of the future. And today's video is all about emptying your cup or how to empty your cup. And I'm just going to pass this right over to you, Balwinder, and let us know, how do we empty our cup? How do we go into a into a new situation and really just be present and get in there?
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Spencer. This week we're like as Spencer said, we're talking all about expectations and how to release expectations. And I want to start off with one of the biggest causes of disappointment or letdowns is expectations. When we go into any situation, any relationship, anything, period, with some sort of expectation, and that expectation is not met, what happens? We're let down, or we're disappointed, or we feel like it was failure.
Mm.
So, to prevent all of this, you don't want to have any expectations. In fact, the only person or place you should have expectations from is yourself. And that's it. Because that's the only person or place you can control is you as an individual. So, when it comes to expectations and going into situations, going in with an empty cup is huge and very, very important. So, what does it mean to empty your cup? Well, let me give you an example. Is let's say you're going somewhere, and let's say you're going somewhere for the first time, but you're going in with like a cup, and it's completely full, and it's full of all of your expectations, your thoughts, what you want to happen, what you're planning to happen. And what happens is when you go there, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to be like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I expected, or it's going to be like, oh man, I expected it to be way better, or it's going to exceed your expectations, but because your cup is already full and you already have a perceived concept in your mind, you have nowhere to put those things that were beyond your expectations.
Mm.
Or maybe you go somewhere, and I'm going to use something simple. Let's say you go for dinner somewhere, and you have this expectation that you're going for a nice dinner, the service is going to be great, the food's going to be really good, and you're just looking to go and have a lot of fun. And so you've got these expectations in your cup, it's full. But when you get there, the service right off the bat isn't great because the restaurant is swamped. They're just trying to catch up to everyone. And so right away, what have you done? You've said, oh man, the geez, man, this is terrible service.
Yeah.
And now, because you went in with the expectation of this great service, you've set your tone down, and now you're already like, oh my god, this sucks. You could have the best meal ever. You could have an amazing time, but because you went in with an expectation, and right off the bat that expectation wasn't met, now you're like ruining the rest of your evening. But if you go in with this empty cup with zero expectation and say, hey, I'm going to go there and I'm going to do whatever I can in my control to have fun,
Yeah.
irrelevant of what happens around me, that's when you're going to go and have a good time. Now, this just doesn't apply to going to dinner. It applies with your relationship with your significant others, your friends, your children, everywhere and anything.
Yeah.
Do not have any types of expectations, because when those expectations are not met, you'll be disappointed. When those expectations are exceeded, you will not even realize they were exceeded, or how good of a time or how great of service you got, whatever it may be, because you went in with your own set of expectations. And so, Spencer, do you want to talk about the subconscious mind of, what happens when our expectations are sometimes too high or too low?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So the first thing I want to say is I'm a big movie guy personally. I love movies. I love going to the movies. But one of the things that's kind of like a pet peeve is when someone tells me how amazing or how bad a movie is. You know what I mean? It's like someone comes
Yes.
in and they're like, I remember back, I believe the movie was called Bridesmaids. It's a pretty funny movie. I enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot, but there was so much hype. Like every single person I talked to was like, "Oh man, it's such an amazing movie. You have to see this." Blah 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 blah. So like it had this massive, massive buildup, and then I finally see it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I guess that was like pretty okay." But it wasn't. It was because of those expectations. Like versus if they were just like, "Oh well, I'll just let you make your own judgments," and I go in myself
Mhm.
and I watch the movie myself, and
Yes.
I'm like, oh, like that was amazing. But that's why, like, anytime I recommend a movie, I'm never gonna hype it up. I'm never gonna say it's bad. I'm never gonna
Yeah,
say it's good. And I just say, you know, it's a movie. I definitely recommend it. That's about as far as I go.
yeah.
Um, so that's just kind of like an example that I would like to say, it's just to kind of relate it to me. And I know there's lots of movie buffs out there. But one thing I want to talk about is perception is reality. And when I talk about this, it's all about, especially in the subconscious mind, throughout our lives. Like I said, we've had these different experiences that continue to accumulate in our mind, and what happens is it creates this filter that we see everything through. And so as you're walking through life, all the different scenarios, you could walk into a different scenario and you're automatically going to think through your internal filter that it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way, and all that kind of stuff. So, but and that's it, that's why it's a little bit challenging to kind of walk into a situation with, quote, beginner's mind, or with your cup empty.
Mhm.
But the really cool thing is, a, just being aware of what you were talking about, right? But
Yeah.
two is you can also do emotion code, body code sessions on this very thing, and you can try to help shift those perceptions to help change it so that you can kind of go into a situation a little bit better equipped and a little bit
Mhm.
more open to receive. Now, because let's face it, there's a couple of things that could happen, and there's a few things that I have in mind that could be contributing to that. So first and foremost, on the
Yeah.
emotion code side, there the first one of the first emotions that kind of came to my head was stubbornness. Who out there is a little bit stubborn? I know
Stubborn.
I am.
What's stubborn?
Uh, yeah, that guy over there, he's stubborn.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we can be a little bit bullheaded. We go into a situation, and because we're so used to the way things are, and maybe we're just
Mhm.
stubborn in general, we might actually have, experiences ourselves of stubbornness, that have trapped emotions stuck somewhere. We might have someone else's generational stubbornness stuck in there. All kinds of different varying terms. Last week, I talked about all the different kinds of trapped emotions, and there's lots. There could also be something of dread, like, you already have this expectation of, oh, this is the worst, I don't want to go
Yeah.
into it. Well, you might have this trapped emotion of dread that's triggering you, that's preventing you from wanting to even go into that situation altogether. So boom, right off the bat, filter, right? And then as well is, we might actually have another trapped emotion of defensiveness. Maybe we're going into a situation, we
Mhm.
automatically think someone's going to be conflicting, or it's going to have
Yeah.
opposing views, and we automatically go into defense mode rather than going
Yeah.
into empty cup and trying to learn something new or hear about what another person's perspective might be, which leads me
Mhm.
to another energy which we've talked about before, which is no will to energies. This
Yeah.
particular one I find is very interesting, because it's like, let's say you want to get somewhere you want to go, and let's say you're having someone who's knowledgeable, they've been where you are,
Yeah.
they have what you want, and they've been where you are, and you need to listen to them, but maybe you have a no will to listen or a no will to hear energy, which basically means that your body is automatically shut down from listening to anyone outside of you. Boom, filter. And
Yeah.
you don't even, all you hear, like kind of Emmanuel says, is all you hear is wah 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 from Charlie Brown. Right? So that's all you hear is, you
Yeah.
just hear this, and you're not soaking in the information, you're not really getting it. So
Yeah.
those are the things that I would like to say on the subconscious side. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's a great way to start the week off with, expectations is, hey, let's everyone this week, let's try to empty our cup. Let's try to go into every situation and like a sponge and just
Hmm.
absorb as much as we can and take in as much as we can rather than have a predetermined thought process of um, what we expect to happen.
Hmm.
And you just this small shift of emptying your cup and going into a situation, you think about, imagine you go to the hospital because you're in, you got some sort of problem or there's a pain or situation. You go to the hospital and they get a report from the paramedics that, hey, this patient's on the way. They're having chest pain and they're really uncomfortable. It's hard for them to breathe. And the doctors see this and the team see this and they're like, oh man, this person's had a heart attack, like they're having a heart attack, and they've already, that's their expectation, that's what they're assumed. Yet what really happened is you were playing sports and you got hit in the chest
Mm,
by a baseball, or you got body checked really hard playing ice hockey. And now what's happened is their expectation is you're having a heart attack.
mm,
That's not what's happening. And so do you really want to go to that hospital and have this team of doctors treat you for a heart attack when that's not what's going on? And
mm,
again, that's why not having any expectations and just waiting for the situation to come and going into it with a clear slate, a clean blank piece of paper, and saying, okay, listen, I'm going to let the situation fill this cup or write this paper for me, and really determine how my experience is going to be. So
mm.
with that said, thank you very much for joining us this morning on day one of our a week of how to let go of expectations. And if you really enjoy what we do, which Spencer and I love what we do, and this is why we do it every day, connect with us. Unlocking You 2.0 is all about getting you to your best version of yourself and becoming the second, the new you.
Mm.
Check out our website at insideoutcoachingprogram.com. There's a couple of really cool videos there that are 2 and 3 minute videos that you can watch to get to know more. And then every Thursday night, we have an awesome, awesome webinar. It's 2020recoverymanual.com. It really talks about how to get over this past year, which has been very difficult for a lot of people, but really set your life up for success and even potentially have an amazing career while doing that, because that's what Spencer and I have done.
Exactly.
So connect with us. Please like, share, and let us know how you liked our video. And look forward to coming back with another day tomorrow with about more information about letting go of expectations and really just going in clean slate. So with
Hmm.
that said, thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.